What?
Yeah, that's what I think. Spotify's messed up because I feel
Maybe
like
I
we'd
just
get.
want to see you guys.
I feel like we'd get way more on Spotify. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's weird.
Are we going?
We're going.
Well, I think you got to introduce them.
I'll introduce this one. Cooper usually introduces it, but I think I'll do it today. We got some special boys with us today. Two guys that I had the privilege of meeting in a foreign land. One of them is from this foreign land. He goes by Tiago. Some people call him Tiags. He is the blood brother of Cristiano Ronaldo, I think.
Pretty much.
He's your brother, huh?
Yeah, I'm the brother that doesn't play football.
And then we got...
He's a smart brother.
We got one footballer and one just smart as frick guy. Yeah. And then we got Rusters. Ethan Rust here. Also, I met him in the foreign land, and I'm excited to get right into this, boys. This is one podcast I've been absolutely just ecstatic to make. Cooper, you've met Tiago.
I met Tiago when he was biking around freaking Salem. Biking 20, 30 miles a day.
Doing the tour to Utah County.
I know. I'm still so shook when I come over here. Like, yeah, I biked the Alpine Loop today. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Like 20 miles all uphill.
Yeah.
This guy's crazy.
Beautiful place, Salem.
Yeah. The best way to see it, I guess, is on bike. I've never been on... Well, I did go on bike after you inspired me. I did go on a few bike rides.
Nice.
I did. On
it?
the same bike.
Where'd you go?
I actually... Well, it was kind of... I just kind of did it. So what happened was I took him and his dad to the airport because they went to Kyrgyzstan to go on a hunt. Right? And so I took him to...
You got that big money.
Yeah, he's got
I'm a
the
broke
big
boy now.
Dude, that's...
He spent his life
I
saving
saw
on
like
it.
the elk stuff.
Yeah.
The Ibex over
Ibex.
Dude,
Ibex, yeah. Anyway, I took him and his dad to the airport, and so I then had to take his car home. So I went by my house, picked up the bike, dropped his truck off so I could ride my bike home, and it was all downhill.
Like 2 miles.
And like 2 miles, but I saw Salem from a whole new angle.
I've never rode a bike around Salem. I remember when I lived in Spanish, we rode a bike to Walmart once, but that was about it. I don't think I rode many bikes around here. Motorbikes. That's what I was telling you. You should have taken the motorbike. That would have been
Do you
a lot
know how to
easier.
ride one?
Motorbike?
I'm like a motorcycle.
Motorcycle?
I don't have
Dirt bike?
No, anything.
I have one. That's what I was saying. You should have taken my dirt bike.
We could have taught Tiago to drive that.
Oh,
boat.
that would have been...
That would've been
We
easier.
went to that. What do you call it? Is it the same thing as four-wheeler? Yeah.
It's just like the 4-wheeler that has 4 wheels, and then the motorcycle literally just has 2. But it's like the same concept. It's kind of big chunky tires.
It was
And
pretty fun when we went there.
That was fun.
Yeah.
So, Rust, speaking of also forms of transportation, do you still drive that old truck around?
Yeah, it's in the driveway.
Is it really?
Yeah.
You gotta take a look at this
What
boy.
truck is it?
1971 F100.
F100?
Dude, it's sick.
What the heck?
Let's move this a little closer to the middle.
It's a gutless son of a gun.
But it's pretty. But it's pretty and pretty freaking sick.
Yeah, dude, I'll have to check it out. That sounds pretty
So
cool.
what are the sentiments in your mind /heart /soul when you drive that boy around?
Honestly, well, I kept it because it like keeps me honest. So every time I think I'm a rich man, I think I'm getting somewhere.
Right.
You know? I fill it up, and I'm like, oh dang.
Yeah.
I'm not a rich man. I gotta keep myself in check.
So
I can like drive to school.
Okay, so you're doing it to keep yourself humble.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, good on you.
Yeah,
we need more
honorable
things.
man.
It keeps me in check. Because I kept thinking like, oh dude, I got 10 grand, I can spend it on like all this, blah, blah, blah. And then I go fill it up or like replace something, and I'm like, oh frick.
Wait, actually, I got to spend
Actually,
on the truck.
yeah, I'm like, that's where my money goes.
Have you ever thought about investing in a Toyota Camry?
No.
It might be a lot cheaper in the
It
long run.
would, but I'd buy a bunch of stuff I didn't need if I did that.
This sounds like maybe not a humble issue, but maybe
It's not
a
humility.
budgeting issue.
Yeah, it's more like I would rather do that than drive that truck than drive a Camry and buy a bunch of crap that I don't need. Because I would do it.
That's smart.
Okay, I have a question though.
Yeah.
What came first, the truck or the stash? I feel like they
truck.
kind of go hand in hand.
The truck did.
Did the truck inspire the stash?
No, it's stash just happened. I thought,
It
oh,
just
what the heck,
happened.
why not? Because I can't
like
grow a beard like Creighton.
And I can't grow a stash.
Yeah, and so I thought, I gotta do what I can.
Yeah, it's my problem. Like I can grow a stash, but it's just so blonde.
Yeah.
You can't see it anyway. So
And over the summer, I was working a job with a bunch of like Latino women, and they loved it. So
They love the stash. Did they think
Older
that you were
women,
their
yeah.
poppy?
no, they all called me mijo.
Oh, so
Hi, mijo. And they like touch my biceps and stuff.
Oh, it's always the
they got a
biceps.
little intense sometimes.
It's
but-
always the biceps. So, Tiago, you're now in America.
I am.
You're a Portuguese man. You're exotic, as they say.
I guess.
Are you gonna embrace the American culture and grow a mustache?
Dude, you're good in an hour.
No, I will not. I've tried it before and it looks terrible.
No, I don't.
No.
I can see that it's thick.
Yeah.
I could already see
Yours?
it already. You
I
know,
could
the
grow
shadow
it, but
going.
it won't look very well.
Because mine doesn't connect in the middle.
Mine
Like,
doesn't
I
either.
try. Like I
It's
have
barren
to like
right
comb
here.
it.
It's
I like
literally
trying to comb
barren
it.
right here.
But his would.
I would totally grow a beard if I could, but you know.
Dude.
Oh yeah, you're at the Lord's College.
Yeah.
But you can grow mustaches, can't you?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Go a stash.
So dumb, but
Go a stash.
we'll see. We'll see.
There's always the option. You can get a beard card. Can't
Maybe
you?
Yeah.
maybe if I get along with Latino ladies, I'll
There you
I'll try to grow one.
go. Everybody likes a
There you go.
stash.
The
Everyone
Brazilians.
likes a stash.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of a handlebar mustache?
What's that?
Dude, it's a kind of stash.
Dude, with the Portuguese hat.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great. I think you'd
What's
rock it.
that?
So I actually done the handlebar mustache. Actually, it's how I got married. Just kidding. But it's like I grew my beard out first, and then I shaved. You shave right here, right on the chin, and you shave like all around your beard, so like, till about right here, and so it looks like the handlebars of a bike.
Oh.
So
I
it's
see.
like it goes right here and then goes straight down, like this.
That's a
And
handlebar.
That's a handlebar.
I thought the handle. What's the one when you turn it out?
Oh, I think that's.
What's that one? I thought that was a handlebar.
No, that's
Different
That's just a
that's like a bartender stash, like the old 1800s.
or like the
I
French.
thought those
the
were
French
handlebars
guys
because they
do
have
it.
like the. No, yeah, you're right. This French thing.
Yeah.
You know, wouldn't you know?
I have
Fran-
no
Isn't
idea.
France close to Portugal?
Everyone in Europe hates France. Yeah, man.
I hate France here.
Do you hate France?
Yes.
I
Just
like
be-
France more because I was living there, so I can't
Okay,
do it
well,
anymore.
no.
Okay, do you
I
like
have a
the
story
French?
about French people actually. I think you heard this story, right?
What?
It's actually one right after he took me to the airport. So that whole thing was like kind of a joke anyway. So you just experienced this too, but Delta screwed us over.
Oh my gosh, screw
Bro,
all
Delta,
airlines.
bro.
But
Screw all
Delta canceled
airlines.
our flight like 2 hours before because we were supposed to fly straight from Salt Lake to Amsterdam and then straight there. But instead, they canceled the flight, so we had to hop on another flight. Then we had to fly from there to Paris and then Amsterdam and then over there. But anyway, on this flight, because it's to Paris, just a bunch of Frenchies, right? So I get on there, and you know how the seats on the plane, they recline like 2 inches.
Yeah.
So there's a French lady sitting behind me, and like we were already taking off, like, and it's nighttime, right? So I'm like, oh, I'll just recline my seat and go to sleep. So I recline my seat, and then she like slaps me on the shoulder from like around, and like yells at me in French and like tells me to like points up. So I'm like, what the heck? So like put it up, and I'm like, it went like 2 inches back, but whatever. And then I was like, I'm not going the whole flight with my seat up. So I like watch a whole movie, so 2 hours, right? And then after that, I was like, okay, I'm good now. And I recline it back, and she straight up punches me in the side of the head. Like, I think I woke her up or something because I reclined again, and she just swings on me around the chair, hits me in the side of the head. And I turn around, like, what the hell is your problem? And she's like yelling at me in French something. And then there was another French lady sitting next to me, and she stuck up for me because she kind of witnessed the whole thing. And she starts yelling at her in French, and then they argue for like 5 minutes, just yelling at each other in French. And then I'm just sitting there, but then I just like reclined it while they were yelling at each other,
She
and
didn't
I
know
just kept it there. So
There you go.
yeah, so I don't like French people very much.
Dude, French people
Just takes one.
are misunderstood.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you shed some light on them?
Yeah, help me understand.
Well, they have a lot of culture, a lot of
Right.
history, and they're very proud of it. Like they
Right.
should, like every country should,
Yes.
obviously. Yeah, but the recent history is not very good towards France.
Yeah.
Second World War.
Right.
Yeah, they're not very proud of that and all that.
Right.
So they try to defend their history and defend their culture when they can, and sometimes they tend to be a little toxic.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Is it true that Hitler pretty much kicked their ass in 3 days?
Yeah, that's going to happen, but they don't like to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, good thing they had the other guys.
Their cigarette. Oh, I thought you were going to say good thing they had their cigarettes and baguettes.
Yeah, that's too.
Kept them happy.
Dude, they got the cheese is good.
They have great cheese.
Yeah,
I imagine
it's
they'd
really
be.
good.
How about wine? Do you drink wine?
I won't say anything on this podcast.
It's boiled, right? It's boiled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just juice. Yeah.
The alcohol.
It's de-alkalized. Oh my gosh. I did try wine once when it was like de-alcohol, whatever. When it was without alcohol.
Non-alcoholic.
Dude, it's the grossest thing I've ever tasted in my life.
Yeah.
It's so gross.
Really?
I hate it.
But without the alcohol, it's kind of just juice, no?
It's like juice, but it's like,
That's what I thought. Isn't it just like
It's
fermented
like-
grape
maybe
juice?
it's 'cause
Weird, it's different though.
it's
It's
different.
super bitter.
yeah, it's bitter. Yes,
It like sucks the moisture out of your mouth.
it does.
Like,
Does it just not like have any sugar in it?
I don't know.
Because I've had like straight up just like grape juice, like just
Oh right.
squeeze the grapes without
Yeah.
adding any sugar, and it's gross too.
Yeah.
That
That
might
might
be
be
what it
I
is.
bet that's probably what it is. It's probably similar to that.
I don't know. In the summer in Portugal, you can get like it's called sweet wine. It's like without alcohol, and it's
Yeah.
super good.
Really?
Yeah, it's just like great.
You probably just like the bitter taste though.
No, it's kind of like vinho do Porto. It's like Porto
Yeah.
wine, but it's so like sweet. It's
Right.
nice. Yeah.
Huh.
In the summer.
Doesn't sound good.
It doesn't. You know what does sound good?
What?
Just like Mountain Dew, man. Just
Dude,
kidding.
I don't know, bro.
Dude, I remember when you guys were in Portugal, he would like text me like every day, just like
Every
talking
day,
about-
bro.
Dude,
Not every day,
Yeah,
but
No,
like,
to be honest, it was like at least 4 times a week
Yeah.
during the week.
but like
I mean, it's got to come out sometime. I'm looking out now.
at least multiple times a week, it was about how much he wanted a Dr. Pepper.
Really?
Dr.
Yeah.
Pepper and peanut butter.
Oh yeah,
Really?
I love peanut butter.
What's
I
the
love
thing
Dr.
about
Pepper.
peanut butter here? Everyone like
It's just yummy,
crazy
man.
about it.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah. I'm like
Hey, the
eh,
first person.
See, like I love it. I like
Nutella though,
no.
Nutella's where it's at. I love Nutella.
I like Nutella too. I'm just a fatty. But I like it, dude. If I can like ice cream, if there's or like shakes, if there's a peanut butter option, I don't have to look at the menu. From that moment, I'm getting a peanut butter shake. Or if there's a big assortment of cookies and there's a peanut butter cookie, it's easy because I don't have to make a choice. It's just a peanut butter cookie. And it's that simple. It's a simple love. It really is.
I like Reese's peanut butter cups. Those are good.
See, I don't even know. I like those too. Those are pretty good.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I got a tough one coming your guys' way.
Send them over.
Just kidding. Well, not really. I'm not kidding. Here it goes. Are you ready? Andrew Tate has just been arrested.
Top G.
He's a top G. I've read the Tate Bible. I read it. I bought Cooper
I've also read
a
the
copy.
Tate Bible.
He's also read the
How
Tate
was it?
Bible.
I've been converted.
Poorly written, but I mean, it was
He didn't write it though.
He didn't write
someone
it.
else wrote
That's
it.
Oh, who are?
a call or just like a.
Oh, it was like a fan.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a fan that's taken all of his crap from his podcasts and social media.
You
Everything
said crap, but you mean like truth and doctrine. Right?
truth, doctrine, just if words were pure light, that's what they were.
Exactly.
Anyway, I mean, it was cool. I liked the stuff I read. It was pretty interesting. Some of it was pretty intense. Some of the things, but I mean, anyway, if he allegedly is a human trafficker, allegedly, if the allegations are true, will you denounce him as a top G?
If they were true, yeah,
You
but they're not.
You would?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, anyone that commits trafficking of people, it's not a good person.
Yeah.
But he has not committed it because he said that this was going to happen. The Matrix
Well, maybe he said it was going to
come.
happen because he's like, I'm a human trafficker and someone's going to find
But
out.
the same thing has happened before. He has been
So
accused
he's
of...
been caught already in the past?
No, it has happened before. The police went to his house and raided his house because
Right.
like some girl said something dumb and like they thought they
Right.
And the thing is because he lives in Romania, right?
He
Right.
does?
And Romania
Yeah.
has like a big history with like human
Vampires.
trafficking.
Right.
So like they don't tolerate anything
Okay.
of that now because they want to clean their name, right? So every time someone complains about human trafficking, they gotta take it super seriously. So they use it as an excuse, and because he's like super famous for having like tons of women and all that, and
Right.
clubs, and he owns casinos, so
Right.
easy excuse.
I guess to me, what it felt like was it almost felt like, do you know what like the Me Too movement is?
Me too.
Yeah.
No.
It's like, and this is not me denouncing anything or devaluing anything. That's not a word, but anyway. I basically felt like what it could have been is a girl that either was mistreated or something bad happened, or she's making it up, came and said something like, this is what's happening, and then what you, to your effect, them saying, just taking it super seriously, right? Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I was getting to. I almost felt like, it almost had like Me Too vibes.
Because we read it like, we saw like all the articles and stuff, but we read like the Tim Ballard one right before, and it said it was kind of like, it was kind of sketchy. Mm-hmm. Like it was like some girls or something kind of like turned him in, but like, you know, he's kind of around those all the time and works with them anyway. So I feel like it'd be pretty easy for like one of them that maybe like had a bad experience and just kind of throw him under the bus.
Yeah,
like,
but did you know what happened actually? Like the first time what happened was like he had this girl at his house. They were having a party, and like she posted something on Instagram, and then she was from America, so her boyfriend in America saw that and like called her, and she just like faked some story that why she was there.
Oh, really?
And then he called the embassy saying like they were probably like super rich, right? He called the embassy saying that she was like trapped in the house by this man, so the police was sent there. So that story kind of remained in mainstream, but it was like all like investigations were done and they realized it was all fake. But this time, like you don't have any people coming out and actually saying like women coming out and saying that he did something.
Right.
And actually, the last time this happened, he said that reporters reached to like 15 of his ex-girlfriends and basically offered to pay them like 50 grand for them to make up a story of like mistreating or anything like that.
Yeah.
And none of them like accepted it. So people are like how he calls it, the Matrix is trying to like pay people to like fake stories of him, and so far we don't like even see anything of that sort. So yeah, it's made up.
That's how the world works. Someone reaches power that people want to. Like that analogy, like the crabs in a bucket, right? One of them starts getting out to the top, the other ones pull it down because they want to get up.
That's true.
But they just pull him in.
So what do you think of Andrew Tate? What are your?
I don't know like anything about him. I was just playing devil's advocate. Like maybe he did. I don't know.
Dude, I like.
Dude, you
gotta look at both sides, you know. But
you do. Yeah.
I don't know. I've only seen like these YouTube clips when he's like
just going
a
off.
feminist or something, and he just seems super intense about just like what it means to like be a man and stuff like that.
He's definitely very passionate.
Yeah.
He's very passionate about what he believes.
It's kind of like when Trump was president. Like some of his values were good, but like I don't think I'd ever hang out with him in person.
Yeah.
Like I'd never be like, "Yo, Andrew, let's go hang out." I'd be like, "No, you kind of just because of my principles and personal standards."
Right.
Probably would not get along in that sense.
Right. I think I could hang out with him, but I wouldn't want to be friends. Like I would want to hang out, like a hangout.
Like if I met him,
opportunity to be with him,
just
but
to see.
I don't think I could be friends with him.
No.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think I would either.
I'd
be like,
oh,
you're Andrew Tate.
Man, I'll be friends with him. As long as he's not a human trafficker.
Use him as a sugar daddy.
Dude, I believe that.
Pay for your hunts too.
I believe that God uses people in different ways to help other people.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, if kids look up to that kind of person to seek for guidance, God can use them to like help them, right?
Right.
So even if his principles don't match like some other things that we believe, like, you know, a bunch of women and partying and alcohol and stuff like that.
Like personally, I wouldn't want him to be my kid's role model.
But like there are people out there that don't have anything else, right?
Right.
They only have the indoctrination they teach at school nowadays, right? So this is totally helping a bunch of people getting out of that. And you can see if you've been following him for a long time, you can see that he's like coming closer to the truth. Because like in the beginning, he was kind of just like partying and women and stuff like that. But now he's been converted to Islam and all that. And like
he did.
Yeah.
He was an atheist.
Yeah, he converted to. There are videos of him like praying in the mosque and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
It's super cool. And he's like telling people to like turn to God and like go to church.
Oh.
Yeah, he said like before he'd go to like Miami and stuff and party a lot, but now he doesn't feel good in places like that because it's godless. They don't have God there. So he's telling people to like and girls like in clubs and stuff to go to church and
What the heck?
yeah.
I saw him on Piers Morgan talking about that, and he was saying like that's the one thing he'll go back on and say he was wrong about.
Yeah.
He's like, there's nothing else I was wrong about, but I will admit I was wrong about God. So I
Yeah,
think
because
he's
he
like
was atheist before. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So
And his argument for God is super good. He says that the thing that got him to believe in God was that he saw so much evil in the world. He was seeing so much evil in the world that he could not understand how like so much evil can exist, and there's no opposite and equal force to it. He always uses like the
like the
Newton
Yin
law
yang kind of thing.
Yeah, he says that if there's a force, then there needs to be an equal and opposite force to it, right? Opposition in all things, like we say. So if there's so much evil in the world, there needs to be like opposite force, and he figured out it had to be God.
That's interesting.
Super interesting.
Let me ask you this. We both can weigh in on this. So he got quote unquote canceled, right, from mainstream media, whatever you want to say. Who is benefiting from him being canceled?
Great question.
Who is behind the curtain, and why are they
Matrix.
there? But why? Why? Well, like, I don't feel like there's nothing. I don't think there's anything done like in existence where someone can't be benefiting from it.
Yeah.
So who
Absolutely.
the freak is benefiting from this?
I think that's a great question, and what he says quite often is that it's honestly just comes down to a battle between God and the devil. It's like between good and evil, right? So there are people in the world that they're trying to control everyone and make everyone a slave and work for like this global power, whatever, satanic tyranny, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And I don't know, it's like secret combinations and stuff like that. People in power that no one really knows who they are. They have control of things. And
Bill Gates.
yeah, maybe Bill Gates.
Dude, screw Bill Gates, dog.
He did something. He got busted something with the vaccine, kind of like
Well,
he was getting
he
like
invested into
paid.
the vaccine.
Yeah, he was getting paid for like the vaccines that
I
are
was
going out or
surprised.
something weird.
Yeah.
But another thing, for example, that just proves all this. Like this guy that's trying to like help young people, be better and young men to be in shape and bring honor to their family. He's accused of like some thing for no reason.
Right.
And then you have like you know about Epstein and all that.
Yeah.
Like,
Screw that guy. Holy frick, dog.
And you didn't find a single person that wasn't like going to the island and stuff like that. You didn't find a single person because they were all like famous and people.
Right.
They didn't find a single person, but now this guy that's like telling people to go to church, believe in God, and like be man and like stand up for what they believe. Like what?
Okay, so I now this brings me to a question. Is this them themselves being evil people, and it's just them? It's literally their decision to do this, or is the devil behind this?
What do you think?
I mean, it's like the difference between like how much the devil is like in on it, I guess you could say, and how much of it's just like a natural man being greedy and wanting power.
Right.
Like the 7 deadly sins, we don't need the devil's help for those. He just like tempts us to go against what we know to be true to do it.
Right.
So those things already exist within us. But if you're so far down, you're probably pals with the guy downstairs.
So you're basically saying that it boils down to Satan is tempting these people to do this.
I mean, I'm sure at one point he did, because everyone comes to like that fork in the road,
Right.
when you like choose one side or the other.
Right.
And I think that's probably where the devil comes into play, is right there at that fork.
Okay.
But once you're down it, I mean, you're kind of
Interesting.
choosing it, I think.
And you can
choose to come out too. Like you can always choose to be like,
Right.
you know what? I don't want to sell kids on the black market anymore.
That's a good.
Yeah.
But they don't, because
Right.
part of them is like, nah, we're good.
I have a big theory on this. So
Go ahead.
I think you guys will agree, but hear me out and tell me if you think I'm crazy or not. So kind of about going along with like all these evil people and stuff, and hopefully this doesn't offend anyone too much, but like I look at things like abortion and I guess a lot of things like that going on in the world, and I'm like, how can someone be stupid enough to think that's okay? Like, how do they not think they're killing another human? Like, it just seems so idiotic to me. But we all know, like in our religion, that we're born with the light of Christ, right? And that's kind of like the feeling inside, like, even like kids are young, like they do something bad, like how do they know it's bad? Like they kind of have that feeling in them. It's like, oh, like this is good, this is bad. And, you know, we know that, like, that's the light of Christ. So, but I think in the scriptures it says, like, when we, like, sin so much, you know, that light of Christ can leave us. So I think all these people, like, kind of like evil people in the world, people that believe in, like, abortion and those things, they've just sinned so much, done so much stuff, the light of Christ isn't in them anymore. So then, like, Satan, the devil, could, like, kind of influence them more. And then that's when they, like, go off and do, like, these super crazy things, like human trafficking. You know, I think abortion's okay and all those things.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, the scriptures use a very interesting term. It says they are past feeling, right?
Yeah.
They sin so much they're past
Like
feeling.
they're numb.
Yeah, they don't feel anything anymore. And to answer your question as well, you know, like, if God really uses prophets, and he has used prophets in the past, he'll uses people to, like, guide other people. Satan does the same thing, like, reverse, right?
Right.
He uses people to destroy other people, bring people to damnation and stuff. So I'm sure they're very evil people by nature. They want to do bad things, but then, you know, Satan comes along and says, like, yo, I can teach you how to make it worse.
Yeah.
Kind of, you know.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's almost like there's something you want, and then you make, like, I guess, a deal with the devil. He's like, oh, dude,
Yeah.
you want money? I can give you that. Same thing, like,
Right.
go the
Dude.
other way.
Hollywood,
That makes
it's
sense.
all that. Hollywood is all that deals with the devil, bro. It's crazy. If you go down the whole conspiracy theory rabbit hole,
John Wayne,
bro.
dog.
Have you heard the Bohemian Grove?
The what?
Bohemian Grove?
No.
You heard that.
From
Or
you.
watched
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I watched it.
It's this, like, documentary. So it's Grove in California. A bunch of, like, bunch of Hollywood people would go there. And I think a few presidents went there.
Probably.
And stuff. But anyway, it's this, like, big camp or whatever, like, super secretive. But they got this big, it's in the Bible, this big owl statue called Mulek. In the Bible, it's Mulek. But it's a big owl statue. In the Bible, they'd sacrifice, like, children to it.
Mm-hmm.
But these, like, Hollywood people and stuff would go there and offer, like, kind of like proxy child sacrifices, like burn mannequins and stuff in front of this big owl statue. So some guy snuck in there and filmed it. Like, he's just in the trees
Not some
filming
guy
it.
fetching Alex Jones, brother.
I didn't want to say Alex Jones. That kind of, like, discredits it.
Oh.
But, like, it's on video. So, like, you can go look at it and it's like...
That guy's base, bro. That's the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, that stuff happened in the past, still happens nowadays.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, we read history and we think, oh, they were, like, inferior. We were, like, such a superior society. But, like, it still happens, but you only know, like, ahead. In the future, you'll know that it happens right now.
Right.
Because it's mostly hidden. Well, nowadays it's not even hidden anymore, but
Yeah.
like Balenciaga. Did you hear about that?
Dude, yeah, with the
What
teddy
the
bear.
freak? Yeah.
It was like a teddy bear, and it was like had like. Sex
She's like,
toys and
yeah,
stuff, right?
they dress kids as, like, sex stuff, like sex
Yeah.
toys, and they put, like, hidden
What's this?
documents in there and, like, saying
So do you know what Balenciaga is?
Uh-uh.
It's some stupid.
it's branding. Like
It's
the
like
clothes
it's
brand,
like it's like
clothes
like Gucci and Prada and like just fancy clothing, and they basically they had this clothing line. Do you know more about this, dude? Come on and talk about it. Are you sure? Yeah, come on, just come talk. Yeah. Okay, guys, we have
Special
another
guest.
guest. We have a special guest here. I'm gonna just give us some background
I
on
think
this.
the camera is, like,
I actually know
keep talking.
a lot about this, but so Balenciaga is one of the fashion houses, and they're actually owned by the same company that owns Gucci and Prada and
There
a
you
couple
go.
others.
the same company that
Yeah.
owns all of them.
Yeah,
There you go.
and I mean, there's so many ties to, like, those rings and QAnon and stuff like that. But what it was a campaign where it was kids standing with their toys, like stuffed animals, and the stuffed animals were, like, in bondage, like S&M type bondage. And there was, like, blood and stuff too. And there was a separate shoot, what you're talking about with the papers.
Yeah.
That was a separate shoot with, like, Bella Hadid was in it too, which I love her, and she's such a good person. I think that she didn't know what was going on because they just bring models into the set. And anyway,
Did you not know about it?
I don't think so. I wouldn't think so because I think she's a good person. Like, she's doing a lot for, like, the, what is it? She's Middle Eastern,
Okay.
but specifically, like, with everything that's going on right there.
Like women's rights.
She's trying to help out with it. But what happened was you know, people were not happy with that, like kids in that situation and portraying that.
Checks out.
Obviously. And so there was a lot of backlash with it, but the papers were, I can't remember the court case, but it was on sex trafficking or like child sex trafficking. And it was, I just think it was like insinuating that they like supported trafficking and things like that. And there's other things that I've seen. There's so many different like stuff that will pop up on my For You page that like they had this other tape that had like Ba, but instead of Balenciaga it was like Ba, which is one of the like gods.
Yeah, Baal. It's like
Baal. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He was
they burn children to like
children.
the god.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
He was one of the gods they made up and made sacrifices to.
Okay.
Children sacrifices.
gosh.
Yeah. So that was a connector, and we have to think about it like when photo shoots are designed, there's a specific person that designs the set.
Right.
And everything is like very
Thought out.
It's all purposeful. They don't just like throw random stuff in. So it was there for a purpose.
So do they know who like the set designer was?
So yes, and it was like a media group. It was like a separate, like outside of Balenciaga, and they actually sued them.
Balenciaga did.
Yes, and I don't know what's going on with them right now.
The crap sales are dropping.
Yeah.
This is called CYA.
What do we do about it? Yeah. Also, Kim Kardashian is like a really big brand ambassador for them right now.
I saw a little bit
been
about
doing
that.
a whole campaign. She has kids of her own, and people are really enraged by her response to it because she took a couple days and then finally said something.
Right.
And basically it was just a lame response. She was like, I talked to them. They feel bad about it. I'm still going to work with them.
Right.
And it's like wild to me because that's so horrible. And like she has babies. But the other thing that sucks too is they brought on a photographer who started this like children with their stuffed animals, with their toys. And he's been doing it in like a bunch of different countries to just like shine light on kids and what their toys mean to them. And it's just like it was a really cool campaign that he was doing that was really wholesome. And then they reached out to him, Balenciaga, to do this shoot, but turned it into this whole horrible thing. And it just really sucks. I saw a TikTok where a girl was talking about this, and she interviewed the photographer, and this is what really like shed light on it to me. He was saying that like just explaining the process that they went through of him being a photographer on set. They would like take a picture and set everything up, but it was checked by everything. Everything was checked by everyone on the team, and it was even sent to like, he thinks it was the higher up, like upper management, like owner,
like
Balenciaga.
the executives of Balenciaga.
Yes, yeah. So it was like going through checks and balances the entire time. Like they couldn't continue shooting unless it was like checked by people.
And they all just put their stamp of approval.
Yeah, so they approved it. And like, I mean, that's not even a surprise really, because with these kind of things, like it's very thought out and very planned.
Right.
Do you want to know something super creepy? And Andrew Tate actually talked about this as well. It's legit. You can look it up about Satanism and how it works. So the example is, let's say you sell apples, right?
Right.
And let's say you sell poisoned apples. If you say you have like your apple stand,
right,
and someone comes and buys you an apple and dies, you're a murderer. You kill the person because you sell poisoned apples. But if you have a stand of apples and it says poisoned apples, and someone buys an apple from you, they committed suicide.
Because they knew going into it what it was.
So this is how Satanism works. They believe that if they tell you what they're going to do and you accept it, the sin is not on them, it's on the person whose sin is committed upon.
I saw a thing, a guy like interviewed a drug dealer, the same thing. He was like selling some kind of high dosage, whatever. And the guy, he was like a reporter, and he's like, what would that do to me? He's like, well, have you done it before? He's saying all this stuff. He's like, no, first time user. He's like, I mean, you can take it, but it'd mess you up. Like, yeah, you'd probably die.
What is it, fentanyl?
I don't remember what it was. Probably. And then the guy was like, would you still sell that to me? He's like, yeah, your choice. Like, you know going into it that you could die if you do this, but if you want to, sure, go ahead.
So that's how it works. Like, they show you that they are pedophiles, like Balenciaga. But if people accept it, oh, it's like someone else's fault, whatever, they justify it, they rationalize it, then the sin is not on Balenciaga anymore, on the people in charge.
So
or on everyone else.
So then, why is so what do you guys think? Why is Balenciaga trying to play it off as if they're not playing an advocate for the devil?
Right.
Well,
Like
because
they
that's-
did it in the what is this whole bondage
Why-
thing
yeah,
anyway?
why?
What was
Like,
the
why?
purpose of that?
I think I think like when you asked earlier, like what's the point of people like pushing like abortion and things like
Right.
that? I think it's like what's that word? Sensitizing
Desensitizing
everybody.
Oh, okay.
Because I think all these
Okay.
people they've been
Okay.
in play for so long, they've existed since like forever, right?
Right. Okay.
And so they're waiting until it's socially accepted.
Yeah.
So I think they just
And they're
do
giving, like,
something.
little
They'll put it out there,
bits.
test the waters. Be like, oh, rejected.
Yep.
Okay, hey, you know what? Sue those dudes. We didn't have anything to do with that.
Right.
We didn't know.
That's exactly.
But they
They're
just slip
waiting
in a
for the
little
world
bit
to be
more to like
ready.
decentralize or not centralize.
Desensitize.
Yeah, desensitize.
And then once they like
it's
they accept
overly-
that,
yeah.
and then they could like take it a step further.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's
and then
everybody.
the world friggin' ends.
Right,
That's
okay.
like,
Dude, that's the
Yeah.
same thing that
That's it.
happens with like transgender stuff,
Right.
and like
yeah.
chopping dicks off from kids and all that. Like,
Yeah.
dude, like it didn't start from that, right?
Right.
It started from like, oh,
Someone
like
saying-
if you're attracted to a guy and you're a guy, like it's okay, right?
Or
Sure,
being able
it's
to be
okay.
what you believe you are.
Snowballing.
You
That's
can-
like where it
Snowballing.
started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just snowballs.
It
and
started
gets
from
worse
that, and like it makes sense at first because most of it is true. There's just a little bit of anti-truth,
and worse. Right.
and then it keeps getting worse. And now they're
And I guess
kids
along
losing
the
their dicks.
along the lines of that too. I mean, you look at it like when COVID hit, they literally took it so you couldn't go to church for a week, right?
Yeah.
As soon as they can take away church for a week, they're
Dude.
okay with taking away church for 5 months.
Yeah.
They're okay with taking church away in general, right? So it's just, I guess it's just that makes sense. That makes sense to me. A lot of the just desensitizing
They're just waiting
until they can get more and more
Dude,
control.
And
That makes
now
sense.
that they know they can lock people in their houses for 2 years,
and
They
And
can
put
do
masks
anything.
on
Yeah.
them,
Flood and,
literally
like,
muzzle people.
Right.
they can do
Yeah.
anything now.
just flood their house with TikTok and something to distract them from what's really
Yeah.
going on.
Right, yeah, okay. Holy cow.
Because
This
now
is-
they're like, wow, society's getting to this place where it's like everyone's so
control
neutral.
them.
We just got a bunch of sheep out here. This
Yep.
is gonna be
Dude,
good.
yeah.
Okay, the
Wait, before you go any farther, you gotta say who you are so people aren't like, what the
sorry, Madeleine. I mean, I didn't serve in the foreign land. I served in a different
different
foreign
foreign
land in Brazil, but
Sprechen the same Deutsch.
or I
They
wasn't
do.
there. But I do speak the same language, so
Amen.
that's fun.
Well,
That's
we
the
won't hear it. Don't
connection.
speak Portuguese.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Well,
You know some. You know some.
O próximo
I know. I
assunto.
forgot everything you told me.
Voltamos ao português.
Anyway, that's me.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh wow, that's. I really feel like there's like some kind of revelatory spirit here.
I had a
Reverend
question about
Portuguese.
what is the Balenciaga though.
The
Yeah.
Balenciaga.
So like, I'm just kind of thinking out loud though. Like, where do they benefit from that? Like them, like kind of like sticking
don't-
those in their pictures and stuff. Like, what
I
do
think
they
it's
gain from it?
In
like,
the future, the benefit. It's like secret. It's
Secret
like, I don't know.
combinations, yeah.
So what,
Like,
what
right
you have
now,
to
I don't know what,
understand,
but-
what you have to understand is that
Yeah,
all of
no
these
lie.
companies and like big tech and all that, they're all pawns in like in a big game, right?
Yeah.
So who's the chess master?
That's what I'm trying
That's
to
what I'm
say.
trying to-
I don't think there's.
What
I don't
is
think
it?
there's one. It's like when like go back like way in the Bible, right? Like Cain killed Abel, and he got like the mark of Cain. He was like Master Mayhem or whatever was what it talks about.
Yeah.
He passed on the title. Like it went to different people. So I think it just switches from time to time.
So you think there's like, for example, there is and just to put it into Catholic terms, there's like an anti-pope, right?
Yeah. Like
That just gets
like
passed
we
on.
believe we have a
passed-
Or the
prophet.
Pope.
Or the Pope. I don't know. Maybe it's Pope. Why not? Right?
I mean,
Didn't
the
Pope
Vatican-
Francis say something about abortion recently? Like he had like it's okay. Or
He's
something
kind
happened.
of saying that homosexual marriage is okay and like
Right, yeah, I
that's
can
against
see
the
that.
Bible.
But I
so-
think with him, he's mostly just going off of like.
dude, the Vatican
They
has a
changed.
long history of
They
weird
changed it.
stuff
They
like
changed it.
That's
child
true.
trafficking. And
Oh
stuff.
my gosh,
like
yes.
so
Yeah.
this is crazy. This was a Canada thing. I served my mission in Canada, but they had these schools that the Catholics did in Canada. So they'd put all like the kind of Native American kids in these schools, and they were like straight up terrible. So like they're finding a lot of these out now, but they'll go up there and they're finding like these schoolyards with like hundreds of like
Oh yeah.
Indian kids just like thrown in like a big pit or
like
whatever.
a mass grave.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
mass graves everywhere, and it's just like barely come to light.
Yeah.
So
The
they,
I saw this thing.
Untouchables?
I saw this thing.
What is it?
Like the Untouchables, like kids who are like in poverty.
Kinda, I'm trying to
Okay,
think
okay.
what.
Or is it
I know
like-
what you're talking about.
I'm going to Google what the schools
Just
are
like
called,
low-
'cause I know, but
Like
Yeah,
almost like
low-income.
concentration camps for.
that's what they
They
were.
were-
So
yeah.
they
in
it was,
Vietnam, they literally will like get rid of. They'll clean all of the like
A little
homeless
purge.
people.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy.
So there'll be like some and they'll grow,
that's
and
a
then all of a
solution.
sudden there's like no one on the streets anymore.
That's crazy. I did not know that.
There was this thing I saw. I don't know if it's related to this or not, but apparently people were like redoing or something like Benjamin Franklin's old house over in England.
Oh,
You
yeah.
hear about that? They found a bunch of bones like in his basement.
What?
That date back to him, like when he was
Yeah,
in
yeah,
there.
yeah.
No.
Did you hear about that?
That's legit. Yeah.
But someone's like, was he like a
That's
murderer?
legit.
Was he like a mass murderer? And they're thinking like he was like doing like weird science experiments.
Yeah. Some people say.
Oh, I
Because he
can
was
see
like,
that.
because he was so like, it's like he probably stole some cadavers or whatever. It was just
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can see
maybe.
that. I can see that.
figuring out stuff with like anatomy, but like just to bury the bones in your basement, dude.
Anyway, I found that they're the residential schools. So they'd get all these like native kids, and they say it was like to help them out,
Yeah.
right? Because they're all mad, like,
Obviously
oh, you
to
stole
help
our
them out.
land, whatever. They're like, oh, like we'll make it up to you. We'll take your kids and we'll educate them. We'll send them to these Catholic schools, like the Catholics are what put them on.
That's
Like, send
exactly
these
what
schools,
we did to them.
And like it's all come to light now. Like a lot of these parents, like they never see their kids again.
Yeah.
Like when I was up there in one of the cities I was in, they found like a mass grave while I was there, and like
Holy crap.
a bunch of like weird stuff at this like residential school that the Catholics put on and stuff.
Wow.
So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'm
to find
definitely not trying here to call out Catholics, but dude, I've never felt good going into like a cathedral.
No.
Like, I mean,
Maybe
you grow.
it's just a
You
little
should
I
know
really
more
went
than
to
better
mass.
than anyone here. Like, when I know you have a Catholic family, but what I'm trying to like, what do you like? Do you feel that when you go into a cathedral? Or are you so used to it?
Yeah. There's definitely like a dark vibe to it.
Yeah.
Especially because of all the like statues or like.
I think a lot of it is
Like-
just a tone they set. I think they do it on purpose though. Like when you go into a
Because you're
Catholic,
supposed to fear God.
yeah, like they want you to feel like remorseful and kind of like whoa. I think.
Yeah. Like the Catholic approach of like the Middle Ages was kind of like oppressing the people, so they would like be submissive to
Right,
the
because-
government, whatever.
Yeah.
Then they
So they used religion and the Bible to like oppress people, to be slaves. Basically, the same thing happens right now in
Right.
a different way. But yeah, but I feel like you can in cathedrals you can see like both sides of the same coin. Like
Because they are beautiful
Yeah.
too. Like they're beautiful.
it's like I believe it's like people trying to reach God through like art, architecture and stuff like that. You know, like because they didn't have the truth, the fullness of truth, and those times. So they tried to like reach God through art and like building like
Yeah.
great buildings and stuff like that. They knew that was God was in the beauty of earth.
Okay.
basically.
What
That's
about
fair.
like the leadership of Catholic Church?
Corrupt.
Yeah.
Corrupt.
You
I
think all
think
of them
that's
are?
where the issue is. You know.
You think all of them are? You don't think there's like a good one? Who's just doing it
I-
'cause culture?
I
he
believe
believes,
it's the same thing.
brings him close to God.
I believe it's the same thing in the Catholic Church as it is with like governments. You start with a good intention, and the higher you go up, the more corrupt you get, because you can only go up if you're corrupt.
That
'Cause,
would-
like,
that would make sense.
I'm sure there are tons of like good men that want to be priests, Catholic priests, and like
Yeah.
want to do good things and help people. But as they start getting into that life,
Desensitized to stuff.
dude,
Yeah.
like the
Yes.
environment around them just like corrupts them. So everyone at top is corrupt
Okay.
eventually. Yeah.
I hate to even ask this. I really do. But do you think there's any sort of that in our church?
I think.
I
so.
mean,
I
there's
don't think there's room.
I think-
wicked people everywhere.
Because, like, I mean, you hear about bishops who are, like, pedophiles, right?
Mhm.
Like, you hear,
Right.
like, stories of people doing wild
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I don't
'Cause-
think at the top though.
Yeah,
I think
no.
like in
No.
Catholic, it's like once
Yeah.
the higher you get, like the more corrupt it gets.
Yeah.
But I don't think that there's room for that, or it's set up for that to even be possible.
I think the
Which I
big
think is
difference
awesome.
is like Catholic Church. I don't really know for sure, but they can progress, right? Like they kind of choose like that's the route they want to take. Like if they
Oh.
want to be a priest, like they'll go
Right.
priest. Like in our
Mhm.
church, like
It's
if you want to be
Yeah.
a prophet, like you can't just
You
be like,
can't
oh,
just
I want
do
to be
it,
a
yes.
prophet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
and
That's
even
true.
like
That's
church
true.
culture, it's not even like mission culture. Like, you know, you have some people in some missions, if you get high baptism rates, all of a sudden you're like AP, you know, like
Right.
6 months, right? It doesn't like work like that in the church.
Right.
If
Yeah.
some bishop's like, yeah, all our 7-year-olds are baptized, they'd be like, that's not how that works, dog.
And like you can't like choose to be like even if someone wanted to be a bishop,
Right.
Like they couldn't just be like, oh, I'm gonna be a bishop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm next. I call dibs.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, I
You
think
can't like
Yeah.
submit papers to like be a bishop.
Yeah.
Right.
that's I think that's the difference from our church to any other organization on the planet.
Yeah.
Like the being called by God, like
don't
you
choose it.
yeah, you don't choose it, and like it's not about like your education, about any of that. Like you don't have to go to a school to like be ready to be
Right.
a leader or anything.
Right. Like you
And-
can choose not to, obviously.
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
choose not
You can
to.
opt out.
You can opt out, but
So,
obviously, that's interesting.
yeah.
That would make sense.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Another thing that makes me just kind of feel icky. I mean, and honestly, it's from a lack of understanding, I'm sure. But like, for example, when I went back to Portugal for a vacation with my family, we went to Fatima, and like when the people are like walking on their knees for like 200 yards, 300 yards, I'm like, God doesn't want that. There's no way in my mind that God wants them to. There's no way God wants a 70-year-old lady to walk on her knees on marble, hard marble, so that she can receive a miracle or for someone to be healed, or God doesn't want that. In my opinion, that's just terrible. And that was hard for me to watch. Like I watched people do it, and they're just crying because it hurt so bad, and they couldn't stand up after.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so I just like, that's got to be corruption, right?
I think it's
But I mean,
maybe
at the
different
same
of like
time,
corruption of just people being misled.
But at the same time, I kind of
Foolish
think
traditions.
I can see how God would want to bless those people because they're doing it in pure faith, right? And so it's like,
Yeah, because faith. I mean, miracles aren't only to our church. We don't have like
exactly, yeah.
the what's that called?
I don't know. I think a lot of those are whack. Though, like I just saw a video the other day. This Pentecostal church.
Oh yeah.
Because they like
Oh, is
speak
that
in
the
tongues
snake
and
church?
With the
stuff.
snakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
What?
like speak in tongues. or
Oh,
whatever.
dude, I'm not going to that church.
But anyway, I saw
like
this
that's
video,
more of a
and they were like
Yeah,
doing their
snakes.
like little congregation ceremony or whatever. And there was this dude in a wheelchair, and he's speaking in tongues, and he's like, "Now stand," and like just dumps him out of his wheelchair. They thought he could walk or something now.
Dude,
and he just was like laying on the ground.
That's
right there.
why people make fun of Christianity, bro.
Yeah,
because of stuff
it
like
is.
that.
It's
If
true.
if like the church didn't exist, no way. That'd be
Ooh,
no
I-
way.
I-
But like that's why people don't make fun of like Islam, for example, because like they don't have that kind of weird
Yeah.
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
You can't make fun of it.
You want to hear something really, really weird? That's something I thought of the other day. Well, I was discussing with my some friends. How to say?
Yeah, the lot was
Well, I just the lot lizards. I was discussing. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually my wife's family, but we're talking about ayahuasca. You know what ayahuasca is?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
Ayahuasca is basically, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's basically like a spiritual journey induced by
Psychedelics.
psychedelics.
Is that the thing you're talking about
Yeah.
in the rainforest?
Yep.
So something that's really interesting, and I'm not for it. I'm not against it. Like honestly, I think it'd be kind of pretty cool. I really do. Like, and
Me
the
too.
thing is, like they're healing PTSD with this. You know what PTSD is?
Well, I don't believe in mental.
You don't believe in
I love
mental
this man. So
anything?
I don't believe that.
He's
Okay.
knowledgeable, but
There's some things I definitely like. Okay, you're milking the anxiety card. You're
Yeah.
milking the whatever card. But PTSD thing, I think it's got to be real.
Yeah.
There's
Oh.
It's
There's so
literally
much
it is
proof.
real. It's
It is.
a neurological
So,
reaction
right.
that your brain like holds on to,
Right.
and
Like,
it
it's
triggers. It's triggered.
like you can see it in animals too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you beat a dog with a stick and let's say the chain makes a certain noise when you unlatch the gate, every time a dog hears a noise similar to that chain, it's
It
gonna
gets-
lose its
Conditioning.
shits.
It's
It's-
like
I think-
conditioning.
but
yeah,
that's just like
literally a
survivability,
lot
you
different
know?
than like other
Right.
mental.
I know, but it was like
Yeah.
that
But
was
that's kind of just like nature, you know, like surviving. You,
No.
Well,
you need
it's
to recognize
not. Well,
patterns.
I-
Right?
but it's not because
It's
you can't
specific.
tell the difference. You can't tell the difference between like the chain because someone's gonna come try to hurt you versus
Yes.
like
Well,
your leash
safe
dragged in the
chain.
dirt.
Like for example, soldiers a lot of the time, like a lot of time they would come home. Like for example, during the Vietnam era, was screw that war anyway. But Vietnam, the soldier would come home and they'd be sleeping,
Yeah.
wake up in the middle of the night with a knife to their wife's throat
Yeah.
because they think they're
Because they're having a dream.
They're
where
having
they
a
have to,
dream.
like fight for their life.
all right.
Yeah.
They can't turn.
And
it off.
so to turn, even if we're not putting a name, let's say we're doing. We'll even put it. We'll just say
to prevent. They're able to now through psychedelics like prevent that incident. Mm-hmm. Where it's like it feels like you can take these psychedelics and they can like they could through professional help they can like almost rewire your brain in a way to make it like go away so you're not.
Yeah. I think personally,
like psychedelic drugs.
Yeah,
yes.
like mushrooms.
I think there's mushrooms. I think one of the reasons
I have a hard time with that.
I think one of the reasons that like your brain is so big and like so vast, and there's so many different neurological pathways, is so you can do that. Like you can like rewire something.
But
if you had to.
Exactly, I think so too, and that's what I think they're able to do with these psychedelics. But here is where it gets interesting with this ayahuasca, in terms of the Bible. Okay, so and keep an open mind here, but ayahuasca, these shamans and that do this ayahuasca, and everyone that's done this ayahuasca, there's like common themes that people are seeing when they do ayahuasca, right? Of some of those things that I was reading about, one of them is that a lot of them see snakes. I don't know why, but I'm just saying, you go back to a story in the Bible that anyone can try to explain this story to me in the Bible, and it will never make sense ever until I learn about ayahuasca. It never will. How in the world is a snake supposed to represent Jesus Christ when Moses puts it up on a staff? And people explain it to me, it does not make sense to me, but I honestly think that there's a chance that, and hopefully I don't get excommunicated for this, but I think there's a chance that whoever wrote...
Was it ayahuasca?
I think they're on ayahuasca. I mean,
Moses?
I think it was an ayahuasca trip because...
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me. Jesus, in our eyes today, Jesus is not a snake, right? Mm-hmm. Jesus is not a snake.
I mean, snakes can have different meanings and like...
But like from the get-go though, snake like represents the devil.
Like a biblical, yeah.
Like,
right.
From the get-go.
Right.
But Christ also said you need to be smart as a snake and soft like a dove or something like that.
Yeah.
He said something like he uses snake, the animal snake, to be like wise and like,
well, like maybe like crafty.
Yeah.
Like, people say smart as a fox.
Yeah, cunning,
yeah.
like Satan is described as cunning, right? So it's, snake is also related to him. So I don't know.
But it's just interesting to me because a lot of the times snakes are popping up in ayahuasca, these ayahuasca journeys with people like tripping out, right? And you just see a lot of weird stuff like that. And there are a lot of theories, and I don't subscribe to these theories. I will just say I just think they're interesting.
Yeah.
But a lot of people say that a lot of things in the Bible are related to that, and a lot of people are saying that the wines, like the wines in Jesus's period, were infused with psychedelics.
That'd be crazy.
And they're finding evidence of this in these jars of wine.
Oh, the vessels they have?
Yes, the vessels, and they're finding remnants of like psychedelics, mushrooms, and plants. Right?
Yeah, that makes.
Well, I mean, yeah, because apparently it wasn't like alcohol. It wasn't that potent back then. So people tell me.
Because I mean, they had to
so
make
maybe
so
to
much
spice
of
it up. They're just like, hey, put some.
You have to wait.
Right, but
psychedelics are made of what?
Mushrooms.
Exactly. Mushrooms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, psychedelics come from the chemical DMT.
Yes, thank you. Yes, and yeah.
So anything that has DMT can be considered a psychedelic. You can get it from frog sweat or frog glands.
I heard I saw this
Yeah.
podcast with, I don't know if you know Henry Cejudo.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a UFC fighter, and Mike Tyson.
Yes.
okay.
They went down to this island in the Caribbean or something, and that's what they did. They got like these poison toads or
Frogs,
whatever, and like scraped the things off them, and then went on this psychedelic trip with that. But,
And then
I'm not interested in that.
there's a huge. I mean, there's a rabbit hole. I probably shouldn't have gotten as deep as I did into this rabbit hole. But there was like this thing that I was reading. I mean, I heard about. I didn't read this. I heard. So that even gives it less credit. But that the Smith family was into psychedelics.
I think I've heard that too.
I mean, I think it's possible. Like there are a lot of things nowadays that we consider weird that were normal back in the day.
Exactly, and I'm not saying like the Smiths should not have been doing that. Yeah. That's not exactly. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I really think that there is a lot of positive
things.
Yeah, I mean, it's
outcomes
on
from
the
nature.
earth.
Like,
Yeah,
Like, why is it even here?
right.
like we could
Yeah.
say like even for like translation of like scriptures where people use like seer stones or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Used to
Right.
say there wasn't
Right.
something like that.
Yeah.
Because if it's used in the correct way, like Native Americans,
Yeah,
there's a reason they had a shaman,
Yeah.
which was just to help them do it correctly.
yeah.
Or
And,
else
like,
they'd
you've
like boil
seen
the
in
brain,
movies,
you know?
like where they have like, you know, the brews and
Yes,
things like that.
yeah.
Like, take this to, you know, for
Yeah.
like healing, whatever. And like, of course, they would probably use stuff.
Right.
So I
and-
mean, there could be some validity to it.
Right, and with that being said, too, everything. I mean, you can use everything for evil too. I mean,
Exactly.
maybe that's where
Yes.
witches are coming. Witches
Yeah.
come from, right? Here,
Yeah.
here's a potion. Take this. Now you're all drugged out, and I'm gonna manipulate you.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know.
But have you heard that theory that like psychedelics or like all the different gods in the Old Testament and stuff, like the wicked gods and stuff, like you can get access to different gods through different substances that you consume
Oh,
because
yes.
you get visions and you see different things.
Interesting.
And the interesting thing about this is, well, if you read about this, is like everyone that consumes the same substance sees the
It's
same
the same
thing.
people.
Yeah.
I've
Ooh.
been talking to my friends about this a lot. They're calling it DMT mapping. And it's actually really creepy and kind of freaking me out because I feel like it's similar to the Tower of Babel. Because they're seeing these entities, they think that there's actually like a separate realm that people are accessing that exists in like our existence,
Yeah.
but they're just
Like a
accessing this
multiverse?
world. Yeah. And
Oh,
they're trying to
subscribe
figure
to
out.
this. They're different
Yeah.
realms.
Yeah, no, and we know this like
Yes.
within the church too. Like
Right.
we're living within other like the
Yes,
spirit
no,
world.
It's like an
Yes,
onion.
this is
So,
true.
but they're
This is
seeing
true.
the same entities, but what they're trying to do with this DMT mapping is figure out how to like access that and like the amount of taking like a certain gram amount of psychedelics so that you can like fully see it and see it. They're figuring out how to prolong that experience so that they can like study it and like get more understanding of it and kind of
It's
like
a legit thing.
live in that
They're
world.
going through the wormhole, dog.
Yeah, and so I'm like, oh my gosh, like my first thought was like Tower of Babel. Like we're trying to like break through the veil.
Yeah.
And like I don't think we're supposed to do that.
I don't think so either.
No,
I don't
I
think
think there's
we're
some
supposed
things
to
where
do
it's
that.
yeah, like
There's some things, and this goes back to you actually. I get so scared about AI, dog.
Oh, that's another thing my friends and I were
It
talking
scares
about.
me.
Yeah.
Like a lot of things that scare me. There's not too many things that scare me on this planet.
but like I robot.
But AI, dude, yes. Did you
well, it's just
hear
because we
about-
don't know what's gonna happen.
Exactly.
Like they've put two AI next to each other, and like originally they think that they're like communicating with a human, but once they found out that they were communicating with another AI, they
Right.
created their own language and started
Yes.
communicating.
What the
And we
cuss?
couldn't understand it, so they like cut it off.
But why I bring that up is because when I'm really scared of AI, I really am. For that reason, Diaz told me one time when we were still on our missions, he says that he doesn't think God will allow it to get to the point where AI can take over the planet.
Yeah.
He thinks that
Yeah.
the second coming will happen before that. So I take a lot of comfort in that, man.
Yeah.
But like
That's why I'm like...
the thing that's the unknown thing that scares me is that I don't believe humans can create intelligence because not even God can create intelligence, right?
Oh, right, they already exist.
Intelligence
Sure.
is not created,
Yeah.
right? But the scary thing is how close can you get to it?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
because I
and
mean
the-
I think,
what Satan does, he's incapable of replicating what God does.
That's
but
why
he
God created
create
the pig.
what?
Sorry, I'll explain.
Okay. But he gets really close to a point where you can't tell the truth, right?
yeah.
He
Yeah.
creates something
Oh, yeah.
so close to the truth that you're like, okay, what's the
What's
truth
real
now?
and what's
Right.
good
So,
and what's bad. Right
I
is
could
wrong,
see
wrong
it
is right.
getting like really close to like real intelligence,
Right.
and you're like, what the frick is life,
Right,
bro?
yeah.
What is reality? You know?
Yeah, probably it's like the difference with like intelligence and like will. So like you could program. That's probably what's scarier about him. You can program a robot to only go so far, but
Yeah.
we could never make it. So it would have like a change of heart, like in the iRobot movie. The
Right.
robot's like, no, robots are bad. People are good.
Yeah.
They'd probably never do that
Right.
because we can't create anything. They could be like, oh man, I kind of feel guilty. I just squashed that dude.
Yeah.
Turning against my own kind. I don't think they'd ever do that.
I don't think so.
They'd probably just like, we have a program and we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the most satanic frontiers right now
Yeah.
are like AI, cloning, and like everything that messes up with genetics, like transgender stuff.
We would
and
talk
all
about
that.
that all the time with like
Dude,
crossbreeding
all of that,
genetics.
yeah.
So like half man, half cow, make like those
Like that
cars.
stuff happens. Like people are messing up.
No,
with
I've
that.
seen some weird, like just animal ones.
Yeah, where
but
people are trying
it's
to
like
combine
totally
stuff.
like big time illegal, right?
Yeah.
But they like can seriously do it, like cross a duck with an alligator, and it'll like legit be a living thing, but be like a duck alligator.
Like legit, wait, like literally duck and alligator.
No,
Yeah, it's
not
like-
that one.
No, like 100%. I've seen it.
Duck and alligator.
You haven't seen a duck and an alligator?
I
was
saw
weird
one
with
that was
all
like a
Google.
monkey and a pig or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Because
You
like their
can find that
genetics were pretty close.
So
So
it's
you
like
could splice it and it would like live,
So they're
but it didn't live very long.
Oh, I think
And
of that.
it
In
couldn't,
Japan, right?
Yeah, and like it couldn't live on its own.
But the super interesting thing about that, and the reason, the proof that you can create life, is that if you interbreed species, the problem with that is that species cannot reproduce. That's always what
Yeah.
happens. Like with plants,
Like mules.
if you
Yes.
cross if you cross like flowers and stuff, that you can do that pretty easily. They cannot reproduce. Or like like if you cross like donkeys
So
with horses,
you have to
right?
make a whole
Can't-
horde of it. They can't
Yeah.
make themselves.
So you can't create life. Only God can create life. You can't make it like keep going.
Continue.
you
Yeah.
know?
That's good.
Yeah.
So you're saying this
That's
freaking
comforting.
There's no way a duck and
this
alligator
alligator
has
has feathers?
Retarded.
because
I don't know.
one's warm blooded and one's cold.
I don't know. They crossed their
Their
DNA
genome?
or like their DNA and stuff. They somehow combined them. So like it, I don't
It's
think
like
it
a
really.
scaly duck.
It didn't look
That'd be
like a
pretty cool,
scaly.
actually.
Like it didn't look like
Yeah.
what you would think.
A duck with teeth.
But yeah,
That'd
like
be
it didn't look
terrifying,
like
dude.
that or anything. But like it was like an alligator duck mix.
What the?
It was
That's
weird.
I would have one.
Did
of
it
those.
have
Tigers.
like
I'm trying to
wings?
find
It's like that's like the new Jurassic Park movies.
But
When
they
like, oh, we
say-
put some chameleon blood in this
Yeah.
dinosaur, so now we can.
Right.
But I don't know how
blend
legit
in.
this was. I actually talked. It was in my biology class at UVU, but they were talking about it,
Oh, dang.
and they said that it's like the science is to a point now where like they could do that easily. Like they
Wow.
could cross like the
Yeah.
DNA or whatever of anything they want.
And you can
And, like, it'd
take
be fine.
specific parts of the DNA, like
Yeah.
he was saying, like the part of a chameleon that
Right. 'Cause
changes
you can
color
do that.
and put it into.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
that
you
makes
can even do
sense.
that with
Yeah.
babies.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
thing about
Yeah.
that where
You
you
can
like
pick
go
the
on a thing and you're like,
gender.
I want my baby to be blonde, male,
Yeah.
6'4", love for basketball.
That's crazy.
You want to hear something kind of crazy with the babies?
What?
So my cousins, or it was my cousin, I guess my cousin-in-law, because he married a girl. But anyway, they were like had to go through. They were having a tough time. Like,
Wait, so-
Married a girl.
You married a girl.
well, they did. Well, they're married. They were trying to have kids, right?
That doesn't make him your cousin anymore?
Well, that's what I said. He's
No,
my
it's
cousin.
Okay.
Did I say something weird?
Let's kid. No.
No,
you're
no.
fine.
Okay, I'll keep going. But anyway, they were like they went through like in vitro and stuff. But anyway, she's pregnant now. She's gonna have a kid in a couple months.
Congrats.
Yeah, congratulations if you listen to this. But anyway, they gotta choose what gender they wanted the baby to be.
Yeah.
What?
But there
Yeah.
are so many genders. How can you choose?
Yeah.
Did
they have a big list to choose from?
No, so they
Toss a
like
dart at the board.
they did like the egg harvesting
what if-
or whatever.
What if
Yeah.
the baby wants to have another gender after he's born?
They get a refund.
Is there a warranty on this egg?
Can we change it again?
They just send it back.
I don't know, but they like took I don't know how many they took out, but they did like the egg harvesting, and then they asked them
Yeah.
like, "What gender do you want?" Because I guess they can tell like that
Yeah,
early
which
on.
egg, yeah.
Oh,
they
yeah.
got,
Crazy.
They got to choose what gender.
Because I mean, they couldn't change
Yeah.
like the egg of what it was.
No,
but they
but
could
they-
choose
Oh, they
which
picked
one they
that
want.
because they took so many, right?
Right,
So
yeah.
obviously there'd be some of both.
So they
which
would-
one do you want?
If they said just surprise, they just flip a coin and
Probably, I don't know.
Huh.
I guess
I
baby's
guess roll a dice.
trans-fluid now.
See, that sucks because like I don't want it to be like a
Mystery.
chance,
Right,
And like
yeah.
what
Yeah.
it's supposed to be. You know, I don't
Right,
really
yeah.
want to pick.
The beauty of life.
Yeah.
yeah.
But I just thought that was so
That's
crazy.
messed up.
Like how do you, like it's crazy that
I
they can
know.
tell that early.
My
Yeah.
mom's
Like,
been
just
saying. My
choose.
mom's like 43, and she's like, I would only have a kid right now if I knew it was gonna be a girl, and that's why we got into the conversation. And my one of our family friends is a scientist, and he was like, yeah, you can actually do that. So I'm like,
Yeah,
now I'm like,
okay.
Mom, are you gonna actually
Get
are you gonna have a
pregnant?
kid?
Is she?
I don't think so.
Uh,
I think
I
that
don't
would
think
be
you
more
really
likely
would
than I
have
would
another
before
kid.
that.
Yeah.
It also freaks me out that they can like freeze people's eggs and
Yeah,
then like
like-
put them in like years later
thing
and
Yeah.
still have a
The
kid.
thing that was like
Yeah.
the set of twins that were born that were like 30 years ago is when they were frozen.
Yeah.
So they would be like a 30-year-old dude, but they just were just
Like
barely
that.
born.
But like,
Weirds me out.
why do you want to do
Technically,
that?
you're-
What's,
Like
Well,
your
women will
great
do
grandkids
it.
could have you.
I think people do it so like
how scientists
people that
how
like
science is.
have problems having kids,
Wow.
like they'll go in and do like surgery, get all their eggs and like freeze them, so then they don't have to ever go through that again. If they want another kid, they just like put the already.
Or
egg
if women
they don't
haven't
get
gotten
back
married yet, they haven't found the right man to have the child with, and they're getting older, they'll freeze their eggs.
Oh, they could just be nicer women and get them in.
But okay, I have a question. I don't know if you know the answer to this.
You would like
But like, let's say there's like someone's eggs frozen or whatever. Could you put that in someone else and they could have that kid?
I think
like surrogate mothers, yeah.
You can.
Like my sister
Oh
did
yeah,
that, or my sister-in-law did that.
Really?
Yeah. They weren't able to have children, and so they went and they bought like someone else's
Eggs, yeah. Same thing you can do with sperm.
Did they get to choose who?
concoction. Yeah, like they choose. It's like going to like a sperm donor or something. You get like a.
You look through the
You can see
profiles.
like.
And it's like more expensive if he's like an athlete or something.
Right.
Yeah, right. So that's not.
There's like
I don't think-
rankings, homeless.
They don't like stud
athlete.
them out. They're not like studs, like NFL linebackers. It's not like that. It's just like here are your options.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yep.
Huh.
But would you guys do something like that?
I
If
think
I had
it
to.
weirds me out
Well,
way
if
too
you
much.
If
couldn't
you don't
like
have
have
to.
kids or something.
If I had
Like-
to, I
Yeah.
would.
Well, aren't you an IVF baby?
In vitro?
Yeah, in vitro.
Yeah.
Oh.
You were?
And you, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
They couldn't pick. You could have been a girl.
Dude.
Well, I don't think they could have done that back then. I don't think they did. I think
You
they
wish
did.
you were a girl?
No.
You
No.
feel like a girl?
No.
You can tell us. It's the time to tell us on the
No,
cast.
I feel
Never
very
even
much
been
like
like,
a
hey, you know, I
man,
kind of like dresses.
and
Right?
I enjoy it.
That dress in the window. It's making me feel a certain kind of way.
I think I'd be way too afraid, like, if I got married and, like, did that. Like, what if someone just, like, stole the eggs and, like, had my kid?
Yeah.
Like, that's a
Have you
freak.
seen
Yeah,
Jane
like
the
a-
Virgin?
What?
The movie Jane the Virgin?
No.
Or not the movie, it's a
It's a
show.
Oh, I've heard.
It's
of
a
it.
I've
TV
heard
show.
of it.
What
That's
happens
so-
is that like on accident she gets inseminated with some other woman's husband's sperm. So she was they like switched rooms basically, and the doctor just came in and was like, "Okay, I'm here to impregnate you," because she
Oh
thought
my
it was the other
gosh.
patient, but it ended up being the other girl.
This
so
makes
she's
so
like,
much sense.
I'm
this,
pregnant and a virgin. She hadn't even had sex.
This happened to you.
You got pregnant?
No, you are not actually your dad's son.
Oh,
I'm serious. Think about it.
I look a lot like my dad. If anything, I think, I don't know.
Well, like the size wise,
oh, yeah.
like you're a giant compared in your family.
I tell them, like, joking around, I say I was switched up at the hospital all the time.
Dang.
But I have, like my aunt, like, my dad's two sisters are taller
Oh, they're
than
tall.
him.
They're tall. That's true.
So, my dad's just short.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
that's crazy, bro. I'm not pro knowledge. I think all knowledge is good. You know,
Yeah.
right? So it's not like, back in the day they would say, "Oh, you can't study this because it goes against religion, whatever." I
Yeah.
believe everything is true is of God, right? So we should, learn more stuff. But like, if we don't have like a moral, like baseline,
yeah.
like it just gets chaos.
Yeah.
Like if you start like programming what children will look like in the
Yeah.
future, like.
And they can do that now, right?
Yeah.
I think they can go in,
'Cause
like,
they-
change the color of the eyes,
Yeah.
change the color of the hair.
I wonder.
It's weird.
Yeah, if it could be used, like
For good.
treating. Yeah, like let's say you were gonna have a kid who.
That's the good part of it,
Yeah.
right? They
Down syndrome, you can
Yeah.
take the chromosome.
But then it's like you get into the fact. Talk to one. I mean, this is generalizing, but talk to one family that wouldn't want their Down syndrome kid
I know.
after.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
But maybe if it was something
If he
like
was,
harder,
then-
like your kid had like what's that thing, like MS,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But they die by the time they're 8.
Or
It's like
cancer.
have a normal kid, yeah, and then all of a sudden he kind of starts like his muscles start failing him.
Right.
If you could like save him from that, but then it's like who are you to play God?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like you said, you can only
Exactly.
play God to such
Yeah.
a high degree, and then
But if there's no God, you can do whatever you want, right?
we're all God.
Some people.
In a way.
We're just one big giant.
It's just a force.
Just a force.
It's just
It
a
is.
particle floating through space.
Yeah, but if we keep doing that, like, in the future, you can totally see like a bunch of robots. Like
Yeah.
humans. They just like create like the ultimate race or whatever.
Right.
Just like everyone gets programmed to be a certain way.
They're doing something like that in San Francisco. Did you see they have, like, the robot police now or something?
Really?
Oh.
Yeah,
Yes, I did see that. Yeah.
What is it, like robot police,
Yeah.
kind of?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's France.
RoboCop? Isn't there a show?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's straight up like same thing, but in San Francisco they're doing those now.
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
sending
Good.
them out on stuff.
It had to be San
You don't have to
Francisco.
pay for it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
California.
in San Francisco.
Yeah,
California.
you already like 80%.
What are they not doing in California?
That's a good point.
Or repenting.
Dude, have you?
It's back. Having souls.
What's worse, California or Portugal?
California.
California.
Because we have the freedom to do whatever we want.
I mean, I think it's
Like,
I think it's accepted. It's like common knowledge that America is the center of
Like,
everything,
yeah.
either good or bad.
Yeah.
Like that happens in general.
Yeah.
Like
we have a lot of-
since
we have a lot of pull.
the industrial revolution, basically,
Yeah.
restoration.
I know I wanted to ask you anyway. Like, I know like you're from Portugal and like that's your home and stuff,
Mhm.
but like not looking at that side of it, but just looking at like kind of like the government, how it's run, like freedom to do things.
Mhm.
What's like the differences and
From here,
like what do you like more like between Portugal and America?
that's a good question. I think Europe and America are pretty similar in general. The Western society, basically Western culture. The good thing about Portugal, and it's like we have a saying that I'm gonna say in Portuguese, "Males que vêm por bem," so
Yes,
like
that come
evils that come for good or something like that.
Yeah.
But basically, we had
Socialist,
dictatorship. We had a fascist government for 40 years in the 20th century,
Oh.
right? From like the 1940s to like 1970s. Or,
Mm-hmm.
That's not 40 years. It amounts to 40
No,
years.
I got you. Yeah.
Yeah. And what happened when you have that kind of government, like North Korea and Russia and stuff like that? Like the culture of the country is frozen for that period of
Okay.
time.
Mhm.
So Portugal's timeline was like frozen in time, right?
Right.
So when we joined the European Union, like the Western society in the 80s, like we started like catching up, but we were kind of like behind a little bit
Yeah.
because it was frozen. But now the globalization is like catching up really fast. But because like the generation of my grandparents, they all grew up in that era, so they all have like a 1950s mindset.
Right.
So that kind of protects us from all this new age crap, right? So that's good. It was like a bad thing, like the government that didn't allow freedom
Yeah.
and all that, but it protects us from the
Makes sense.
the culture right now. So I like that it still has a little bit of an older mindset, but the good thing about countries like America and other countries in Europe that didn't have that, that science is way more ahead, a lot of good things in like education are ahead and stuff like that, just they got modern faster,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like the cycle, right? So they're
Right.
up in the time to fall faster than we are, so I don't know if that makes sense, but
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's interesting. I never really thought of it like that.
Yeah.
Does it differ a lot, like kind of like laws and what you're allowed to do, like just from country to country, even within Europe, or is it pretty like
Yeah, it changes from
Across the board,
country
yeah.
to country for sure. But
like you have a lot more freedoms in some countries than other?
the
European
thing with
countries?
freedom, I think it's kind of like all the same everywhere nowadays. Like the Western world, America, and like
I know
you
some
can.
big.
I never felt like oppressed in any way. Like I couldn't do this because it was like
Right.
forbidden. I just did whatever I want, kind of right.
Yeah, I know the big thing. I'm just thinking like America, honestly, like obviously has like the Constitution, Bill of Rights,
Mhm.
But
and like when I went to Kyrgyzstan and stuff, like we had to stop in a few like European countries and stuff, and of course we had like our firearms, right? Had our guns with us, and that was like a huge deal. Like they
Yeah.
did not want them in the country. They wouldn't let us like leave the airport with them. Like they had to have them locked up and stuff.
Mhm.
I know a lot of the European countries like they
Yeah,
don't even
and
have like I say like do have freedom of speech, but like it's not like America where it's like in their constitution.
I mean,
like,
freedom
Stuff
of
like that.
speech and having guns is different.
yeah,
And I think that would be like the only big difference from like European Union to the United States, like guns. But if you go to like Switzerland, it's not part of the European Union, you can have guns. Like it's the same thing in America.
so it's a European Union thing.
Yeah, it's but like that's like the only thing besides
Yeah.
everything's the same. I think.
yeah, I think when it comes to like freedom, the way I look at it, I think the only thing that differs, like Tiago said, he could do whatever he wanted. It's not like he at a curfew or whatever, and the guards had to open a gate to let him out of his house.
Yeah.
Like, he was free. But I think someone said it once, like, freedom, it basically means, like, you can protect yourself, you can feed yourself, and you can, like, create your own, like, success.
Yeah.
So, like, you're not at the whims of it. Like, that's, like, what true freedom is. You can, if you want to be successful, that's on you. If you want to, like, you can protect yourself if you had to.
Yeah.
And then you could feed yourself. Like, you're not dependent on anyone. That's,
Right.
like, true freedom.
I like that.
You're not, like, controlled by anything. We're, like, all of a sudden at the grocery stores are like, hey, eggs are $10 a carton now.
Right.
How many people are going to be like, well, that sucks. Looks like we're going to have to
Yeah, but
spend $10 on eggs every week.
I believe that's true. But then if you think about it, like no one's truly free. 'Cause,
Sure.
like,
Lots of people here are. I mean, there are people in Europe that are free.
yeah.
Like off the grid kind of
Yeah,
stuff
like
where they raise
escaping
their own
the
food
matrix, like
Right,
someone is saying, right? But I believe anywhere in the world, if you truly want to be free and like be completely self-reliant, like you can do it. Maybe some places are harder than others.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're in North Korea, you can escape the country and become free eventually, right? It depends on the individual, what they want to do. Obviously, some economies permit you to be financially independent easier than in other countries, right? And America has a good example of that. It's easier to become rich, basically, make a lot of money, and that's good.
I wanted to ask that too, because I heard that a couple times, but like I have no idea. I've never lived like places like that, but I've heard like it's a lot easier to like I guess become like rich or wealthy like in America, like start a business, get it going, than other. Like, is it a lot easier than even like Portugal?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Countries like that.
It's a lot easier in America for sure, and like Portugal and it's basically the European Union's all the same kind of. Like, there's so many like legislations for everything, and like it's super hard to like make anything happen.
Yeah.
You gotta go around a bunch of laws and stuff like that. But I mean, there are rich people there, people that started from nothing and became rich, so you can do it anywhere.
But did they leave Portugal?
I mean,
they do it in Portugal.
That's the thing as well that leads me to say that everyone is a slave and everyone can be free if they want, and especially nowadays because of the globalization. Like, even if you're born somewhere, you can just like go somewhere else or the internet or anything, right?
But like they left though to get wealthy and then came back to Portugal.
Yeah, but like even if you're born in the United States,
right? Like
you probably will live to keep growing your business or whatever, right?
Like, I know a lot of people, they'll like I know a guy, he owns like a kind of like crypto hedge fund, and he's basing it out of the British Virgin Islands because they don't have like pretty much basically like no tax there.
Yeah.
It's like in America, you'd have to pay like 40% of taxes on whatever, but
yeah, and all the rich people you see in America, they don't have their business just in America. It's all over the place, right? Because the taxes in America are super high as well and keep going down. Yeah, and it's falling. Everything's falling. So you got to go to other places like Singapore, Dubai, and
or Dubai. I know a lot of people go to Dubai.
Yeah, Dubai is the city of the future.
Oh, I want to go there so bad.
Yeah, I'd like to go to Dubai.
Dude, we should talk about Cristiano Ronaldo.
Oh, yes, we were going to talk about that.
I just saw that.
Going to Dubai, and I think he met Andrew Tate.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that was not what we were talking about.
I was just talking to you.
He was talking about that the other day.
They met?
Because like Cristiano Ronaldo, like he's super, he's the
Business
most
oriented.
followed person on Instagram right in the
And
world.
he's super business oriented, right?
Yeah,
and
he finished his career basically right now with a World Cup. So
about that, that's what we're going to talk about. He signed, or I just saw on ESPN, he signed with some team in Saudi Arabia.
That's interesting.
Did you not see that?
No, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, he just signed with some club in Saudi Arabia.
Do you know, like, or good? Is it soccer?
Like,
you call it soccer or football?
Bro, he's smart. He's not gonna go there to be famous or get money. Like, he has all that already.
Yeah.
So when you get to like, everyone wants money, everyone wants fame, everyone wants status. Like, but when you get all of that, what do you want? What's the next? What's the next thing that you want?
Retire on a farm.
Cristiano
amen.
Ronaldo signs deal worth $75 million
chair.
per season with Saudi Arabian soccer club.
Yeah, he's smart. He wants to leave the West.
Yeah.
Smart.
Al Nassr.
Well, we're kind of over some time limits. Is there anything else we want to say or do, or
Leave a like and subscribe.
subscribe? But I think that was so fun.
Free tape.
Free top G.
Free the top G.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks
Frick
for
yeah,
letting
bro.
me just hop in.
No, thanks for coming. No, that.
It's like, ooh.
That was weird that it went that
awesome.
way and she knew so much about it.
Yeah, that ended up being
Oh,
fun.
yeah.
Screw Balenciaga, right?
Yeah, burn your bag.
Okay, just
Yes,
to finish.
amen.
Just to
Yes.
finish. If anyone buys Balenciaga now, are they pro pedophilia or not?
I think it
That's
depends on how
kind of the
educated
like
they are.
I would say so.
where it's
Yeah.
where it's going. Yeah.
Would you buy Balenciaga
Well,
if
but
you
like-
could, if you had money? Cause
But that's also
No.
one
I'm
could
not about
argue,
that.
like kind of like the sweatshops in China and stuff, like Nike and.
Mhm.
Yeah, like the
companies
shirt
like
I'm
that.
wearing right now was probably made by like an 8-year-old kid.
Probably, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I don't know where I got.
Okay,
I don't
well,
know how this shirt came to
To
me.
add to that point, I just listened to a podcast. There's a guy. Well, all batteries have cobalt in them.
Oh, I saw something like that.
Yes, right. And so cobalt, it's coming out in in the Congo. All these mines with terrible work conditions, people making $1 a day, right, are contracted out by big companies like Apple, Samsung, Tesla, right? So are you gonna cancel? Are you not gonna buy from them?
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're just
Saying,
as
are you
inhumane as
apples?
anyone.
Yep.
But are we gonna buy from them?
Have fun not
Probably,
using your smartwatch
unfortunately.
or your microwave
Right.
or your fridge.
So,
But I would not buy Balenciaga.
You wouldn't have bought it beforehand though.
but Samsung.
I
You
mean-
can't afford it.
No. It's just, first, you can. There are so many options of other things you can buy. Like, why would you go for the one that publicly said they're pedophilic?
I'm sure there's a
Yeah.
bunch of people that like. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I just
would
like-
not believe it. Choose not to believe it.
I'm just not into the designer brands anyway.
Yeah.
Also, I think that the world, like, I'm really into fashion. That's why I know all of this.
Oh, sorry.
But-
Gucci's cool.
No, I don't, no, like I don't care about those,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think that like the world is kind of moving it more into that direction, where like more independent brands that
Yes.
aren't part of these like giant like
Right.
fashion moguls
Exactly.
and design,
Yes.
houses. They're kind of going more towards independent and like helping young, like new, fresh
Right.
designers
Yes,
come up.
I like that.
Yeah,
I
that's
like
good.
that.
We should support
Kind
that.
of says more about them that way,
So do you like study any fashion or anything
just for fun.
for fun?
Yeah.
Well, we have a brand coming out.
Oh,
Do you really?
I also do marketing.
Do you really?
Yeah, I
well,
do.
maybe we'll have to subscribe to some of your help because we'll talk about it. We can't mention too much on the podcast.
We'll just get some hints.
Stay tuned for the
Well,
next
well,
episode.
Yes.
Big news
Awesome.
coming
Big news.
soon.
You guys be watching for that. I think that's it.
Cool.
All right, I'm gonna end the
Thank
podcast.
Thank you.
You guys are awesome.
That was really good.